Hello, everybody. This is Curious Corduroy, and you're listening to the Save Data Podcast. This is episode number 2. We're doing something a little bit different this episode. Instead of talking about game news and current events, I'm going to be talking to one Drunklock Holmes, who is a Twitch streamer. He also uploads to YouTube on occasion. He's got a Twitter profile. How would you classify our our relationship? Because we're friends and we know one another since high school, but are we good friends? To put you on the spot.
I would qualify us as elaborate acquaintances.
I like that.
No,
that works for me.
I would say friends. We've had a few on and offs, but I mean no more than anyone else.
Yeah, because we have 2 mutual friends, and that's kind of how we got to know one another. And then me and one of our mutual friends started making videos, and then you joined along, and that was kind of for a while there was us 3. So I kind of feel like that's what our friendship was being creative.
The other side was coming out of the ROTC room and bumping into you waiting to go into the gym.
Oh, I hated that. It was the worst, man.
It was just you quietly sitting by yourself.
I hated gym
everybody being loud, and me wondering why we have to share a hallway with this.
It was the worst. I hated gym class. Although I think when we were in the ROTC hallway, that was weightlifting, so I was fine with that. But regular gym, that sucked.
Yeah, when I said gym, that's what I meant, weightlifting. Right as I said gym, I'm I forgot basketball court and stuff also counts as gym for some reason.
I try to block it out.
That's okay. We won't dig those up.
All right. So, but you've been streaming for a year now. So I think that's a pretty decent chunk of time. You've been pretty consistent too. I would say what's your experience been so far as a streamer, and have you encountered any types of challenges or positive moments?
Challenge wise, oh boy, well the list goes on with that one. I think the hardest challenge, weirdly enough, for me personally, was trying to ignore all the numbers that Twitch was cramming down my throat at a constant moment.
Yeah.
Because I'll admit they'll send me an email after a stream and they're like, "Hey, by the way, your average viewers, you're down 3 from yesterday. Just give you a heads up." And I'm just you need to get off me, okay? I have a handful of dedicated people, okay? And they had to work that day, all right?
Yeah, I've streamed on rare occasions, and then they always send me that email that says, your average viewer was 0. I'm like, all right, awesome.
Thank you. I definitely need to know that, thanks. Are you trying to kill my career now, or?
Just, stop me before I get going.
Yeah.
But I briefly tried streaming a couple years ago. I think I did it for a week, and I clearly don't have the setup for it, but I feel like streaming is really hard. I think some people think it's you just put on a game and you start playing, but you got to be on it, not just with your personality, but people in the chat and the game, and I feel like it's a lot to juggle. Would you say that?
Well, it is a lot to juggle. I'd say it's like driving a car, though. Eventually it does come to you, you know? Like a lot of people are well, I don't know how I could focus on the game and focus on, being interesting in dialogue and focus at the same time. I'm like, it's like checking your mirrors after a bit, You'll be in the middle of playing, talking, and you take one quick glance down and see if anybody said anything. Plus, I have the added benefit, not a whole lot of people chat in my chat, so I almost rarely have to check that.
Yeah.
I have a few tenacious chatters, but that part does get to you. The part that's really tough, and for the record, we'll talk about that setup another time, because you'd be surprised how easy it is to get started. You don't even need anything to get started.
Yeah, I mean, you can boot up a PlayStation or an Xbox and just do a simple stream like that.
Yeah, I've seen it. If you think success, doesn't come, there's people 400 or 500 people, and you look, and they're very clearly just using the built-in Twitch streaming from PS4 or PS5.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it does take a bit. 9 times out of 10, it's been a test this past year and the beginning of this year, for obvious reasons. I'm not going to get into that. To keep your mood kosher throughout the day. So you get up. obviously you made the mistake of opening the news in any fashion,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and then you kind of don't want to do anything.
I've tried to fix that with myself personally. I made a rule where I'll turn off my alarm, and the first thing I check is my weather, and that's it. I can't look at social media or news because it just bums me out.
Well, luckily I don't check Facebook much anymore, but I use Facebook for chatting, so
Yeah, I
thankfully.
deactivated mine.
Well, my subreddit thing, that's my thing, is I recently changed that too, so that I get the front page of only the subreddits I'm part of. Because I used to have, like, you open it up and it's r all, so you get the top posts across all of Reddit, which
Okay.
usually is political or news based.
Yeah.
So I switched to that. From that, I'm like, when I'm ready, I can't start my day like that. So I'm like, when I'm ready, I'll look at that, because I mean it helps be informed. But I'm like, I'm not gonna wake up, look up 15 dead in Beirut. I'm like, oh, brilliant. It's like, what a day to start off.
Yeah, because I'll wake up sometimes and I'll just look at social media, and it's like one little thing I see just immediately kills my mood for the rest of the day, you know?
Yeah, and that's something I hope to address eventually. You know, that it doesn't get like that. But for now, yeah, it's just knowing what's gonna set you off and avoiding it for the moment is the best way.
Yeah, you gotta have a plan.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, like, as I was saying before we started the podcast, like, the main reason I wanted to do this was because of the hashtag you were using, the small streamer hashtag. So I've seen you retweet some people. Are there any, like, other small streamers that you watch or, like, you've gotten to know or collaborated with over the past year?
I've gotten to know a few. Here I am, literally opening up, literally opening up Twitter, because I know them in passing, but the thing is they stream roughly at the same time. Like, when I see them on, I'm getting their notifications as I'm on. So, like, I don't catch it. And then two guys are from the UK, which, you know, I literally just I cannot watch those because my poor sleep, sleep that I have has me sleeping while they're up.
That'll wreck your schedule.
But yeah, there's a few. There's some that I know personally, like Gumdrop. I know her personally from, what is it, Rockford, where we were at. And I saw that she was streaming one time. I was like, I'll just plug that whenever I get a chance. There's some people I know through her. I haven't seen them personally, but I figure anything helps, and I just kind of go off their thing. But oddly enough, I'm actually the worst when it comes to watching streams, because people straight up, I'm like, man, I'm having a hard time figuring out what people want to watch. I'm like, well, what would you want to watch? I'm like, I don't really watch Twitch, so nothing, I guess. Well, that clears it up. I'll just stop.
Yeah, there's few people that I watch, but they kind of jump from stuff to stuff.
Yeah, that is definitely something I'm shooting myself in the foot with, because I've taken on variety. So if somebody wants to come in and see, like, a particular thing, like if they only want the funny, you know, I'm not always doing the funny. Or if they only want, you know, Half-Life streams, well, I'm not just streaming Half-Life.
Yeah, that seems like it'd be really tough to juggle, especially because it kind of, like you were saying earlier, could go hand in hand with your mood. And, like, maybe you want to do this game today, but you had something else scheduled, and I don't know, it seems like it'd be hard to map out.
I did have a harder schedule back then, but these days it's now pretty much whatever my mood is. I felt it, because these have been by far probably my weakest months. But again, I'm trying to ignore those numbers and stuff, because when you do start focusing, I'm getting off the subject of the previous one, but just a cap to that, the first question. When you do start focusing on the numbers too much, you get so frustrated on who's not there or who's not chatting, that those who are there and are chatting feel like chopped liver.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I live with two of the people, so they remind me every so often.
That makes it even worse, more awkward.
They're like, hey, by the way, no, it's not that bad, but they're like, well, we're there, and I'm like, I know, I'm sorry.
It's appreciated, but, like, I need more.
Well, that's the thing, is I was higher, but November, my internet service provider just crapped the bed.
Yeah, I was there for some of that.
Yeah, I was out for almost, like, the entire beginning of November, and so everyone was like, well, small streamer died, move on.
Did you ever get that straightened out permanently, or is it still, like...
I did, for the most part. It's pretty much, I don't think I've dealt with it recently, but it's pretty much sorted out. It turns out it was an apartment with a bunch of internet noise.
Oh, okay.
Like, and their upstream band, that they added a fourth upstream band, and the fourth was having errors, and no one was checking it, because I live in BFE.
So
It's buttfuck Egypt. For those who don't
I was
know.
gonna say, like, is he gonna say it or should I?
I was like, I'm gonna say BFE, and then I sat there. I'm like, there might be like one guy who doesn't know what that is. It is kind of old.
So over the course of the year, I've seen you play like you've done a self remaster of Mass Effect. You've done Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I tuned in for most of those because I get so much joy out of watching people play that game because it's just like one of my favorite games I've ever played. You've done like the Master Chief Collection. Recently, I saw you were playing Minecraft. Is there one game in particular that you enjoyed playing on stream the most?
Um, it's actually Warframe. No, that's kind of been a long running joke. I'm telling people I'm going to subject you to Warframe streams. You're gonna have to deal with it. It's happening. but but no, I think my one favorite. By the way, I'm so sorry. The one time you did jump into that Final Fantasy VII, and I was struggling with finding the music. I didn't realize I had to talk to people.
Yeah,
And I watched you like getting visibly frustrated in the chat. I'm like, what do you want from me, man? Okay.
I just didn't want to backseat because like it is really difficult to find the tracks in some of the areas of that game. But when you find out, I'm like, I want to help him so bad. I want to help him, but I need to shut up.
just tone it down.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, we could be on a whole podcast about that game specifically because yeah, I don't get me wrong, I loved every moment of it. Bloated is one of the terms I would use.
I can deflate that bloat for you. I have gone down.
I can tell you the things that you do not need to do.
I have gone down such a rabbit hole with that game in terms of just like the story and like what does the end mean. I platinumed the game, so like whatever you need, I'm your man.
Oh, I haven't even booted it up since I beat it. So
yeah, I'm waiting until they hopefully release like a definitive edition for next gen consoles. I'm hoping that they'll do one of those.
Yeah, because that frame rate could use some sorting out sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think I actually had any frame rate issues, just texture issues.
Yeah, it was frame rate issues. It was the same place you ran into texture issues 9 times out of 10. And I was playing on a PS4 Pro, so.
All right, yeah, like, I'm on a Slim. I'm on the base console.
Yeah, so I'd imagine it was even worse because then you had resolution issues for you as well. Because I know that game used temporal upscaling quite a bit to achieve its frame rate because it didn't hit solid 4K. For me. But it was also Unreal Engine, so like there really isn't a cleaner way to do that. That's probably like got one of the better temporal reconstruction or temporal anti-aliasing and reconstruction methods for reaching higher fidelity resolutions without actually using the resources.
Yeah.
But to answer your question,
your favorite game that you've played on stream so far?
I think so far my favorite game I've played on stream has to be my time through Mass Effect because that was a game, that was a series that I consider to be like the defining moment of the previous generation. Like when somebody says what was so good about the 360 and PS3 era, like that's the trilogy I point to. I'm like that right there. I don't even with EA's like middling and meddling that they did. I don't know why I said middling, but what they messed with on occasion, the few things they did. That by far has got to be one of the peak moments of it because that was the first time we've taken a character like we've taken a character. I've been through Master Chief's journey, I've been through Nathan Drake's journey, which was also a really good set of streams. I've been through these characters that have existed then, but these were characters made by somebody else. That's what it was. With Mass Effect, that was the time that I took and made a character back in 2007, 2008. I think it was 2008 for me because I got it later. Made back in 2008 and took him all the way into 2012 and beyond, and saw the closing of his thing. It's wild to see the closing of a trilogy just in general, but to take a character that you made, that you mold as you play. I mean, it's even more exhilarating when that happens. It does have some jank though, especially when I revisited. But you know what? Its pros outweigh its cons considerably.
Yeah, I've only played the first Mass Effect and some of the second one, but I got lost in the second one, and my journal didn't tell me where I was supposed to go or what I was supposed to do. Like, I think it was seriously glitched, so I just gave up. I just quit.
That's like Matt, a buddy of mine. He's like, it's been like 3 years since I booted up Mass Effect 1. I'm like, that's a shame. He's like, yep, Shepard's still lost on the Citadel. I'm like, that sucks because I know what everybody's talking about. Because that beginning mission on the Citadel, they're just like, I don't know, go solve the crime, man.
Yeah,
it's like
it was tough.
Yeah, it's at Cora's Den. Well, where the hell is Cora's Den? Oh, it's in the wards. What? I don't know what any of this is.
And when you did play, you labeled it as self remaster. So I'm assuming you took like individual mods to, I don't know, fix lighting, texture, shading, whatnot.
I did. I used a gamut of really simple ones. Some people go so far as to like overhaul the endings and stuff.
Mm.
I'm a real bad stickler for canon. So when like basically when people show me their fan fiction, I'm like, ugh, no, maybe for someone else, not for me. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Like, keep it for yourself.
I will not be able to appreciate it the way you'd like to, because I'll
Yeah.
see characters. Oh, this didn't happen in the game at all. It's like, well, no, it's supposed to be fun. I know, but it's not. But no, I don't do that too much, and I've learned to love the third game, and yes, that's Stockholm syndrome speaking. But I know what they want to do. Sure, there was a bit of a botched ending, but I can appreciate and find the themes leading up to it. So what I remastered, so to speak, is I basically installed a lot, which is a very well known. But by the way, that's what it's called. A lot of textures.
That's the actual name of the texture
Yeah,
pack,
it's
or the
called
mod?
Yep, a lot, and what is it? It's a lot and a lov, which is the other one is a lot of videos, which is where it's actually pretty cool. They've gone and AI upscaled all of the internal, because Mass Effect is this really cool thing where there's got in-game cutscenes, but then some of the cutscenes are actually pre-rendered, and they like swap between them so fast that you really can't like quite catch it.
Mhm.
Like times where your custom Shepard isn't in, or something wild that couldn't possibly have done on the hardware at the time comes through, they'll play a pre-rendered cutscene. Well, the problem is when you're playing on PC, 1080p, 4K, what have you, those pre-rendered videos are still encoded really badly, and
Yeah.
still only at about 720p. So I used a lot and a love to upscale those, and then a handful of select little ones to just kind of change texture colors or maybe fix particular bugs. But aside from that, that's if somebody told me like what would your remaster look like, I'm like, chances are this is what it would look like. Like I'm not big on like remakes and remasters are two different things.
Mhm.
Like for
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy VII was great. Some people have called that remaster. I'm like, no, there was a Final Fantasy VII remastered. It's not this. This is a remake.
It's a spoiler alert, people. It's a requel.
It's a requel make.
Yep.
Requel make master.
Because it's in the same continuity. This is what I'm telling you, man. I've gone down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, all right. I'm making
I'm
that neck
fully
cut.
like, I haven't drank the Kool-Aid. I'm swimming in it right now.
What's fun? You're swimming in it. You still haven't taken a slurp, but you're like, I'll take it all in.
I'm
Why
drowning.
drink it when you can just take it in through the pores?
Yeah, so I guess the reverse to that question would be, is there a game that you would say was your least favorite, whether or not you actually finished it or you like gave up on it? Is there one game that you just like, yeah, maybe I'm not streaming this one anymore?
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you for that one.
I'm feeling that right now. I've started it. I haven't gotten back to it, and everyone's like, "When are you gonna get back?" I'm like, "That's a good question." Anyway, next question.
It's like a Mass Effect Venn diagram right now.
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't hate the game.
Mhm.
It's just sometimes it keeps sidetracking me. Like every time I start talking, and something will crop up, and I'm like, oh, this is one of the things we dealt with at launch, or oh, this is one of the problems it had, or oh, this is where because I've done the extensive like research on what happened
Mhm.
with that game.
It was pretty
And so
messy behind the scenes,
Well, when
right?
people yeah, it was incredibly messy behind the scenes. What started as I want a procedurally generated planets and bring back the feel of Mass Effect 1 turned into we have 7 planets, we barely got anything else done. Also also the quality just wasn't quite there. But I don't know, after Cyberpunk's console releases, I
Oof.
really feel bad for giving Mass Effect Andromeda any flack whatsoever.
Yeah, you talk about a mess.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I'm not meaning to sidetrack that, but man,
Cyberpunk and CD Projekt, well, CD Projekt, like the parent company, and then CD Projekt Red, like, I don't blame the developers. It's clearly the people above them that cause a lot of these issues. But man, like this is, I don't know if there's ever been a release that like this big that's been this bad, or has had like this much controversy around it.
Yeah, I'd probably say controversy, because it looks like if the game had launched, again, we're getting a little off subject, but if the game had launched on PC, like on PC and console, like with the obvious caveats, you know, like when you're playing on console, it's obviously 30 frames.
Mm.
You know, frame rate is capped at 30. Resolution isn't as high. Draw distance is down. Some features are turned down. It wouldn't even, and even with the few bugs that exist, it wouldn't even be that bad. I think one of the primary problems was that the baseline consoles and even the X and PS4 Pro consoles just perform so poorly.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of videos of like the frame rate just like dipping into the teens and even lower. Like
Oh,
that's unplayable.
Yeah, I played that on stream, by the way. It was hilarious. I got to drive 5 minutes. The frame rate dropped to a crawl. Um, I hit a person who didn't exist. Blood splattered. I see blood on the ground. I can't find the body, and then two cops, and a cop car just materialized next to me. I'm like, "How you doing, officer?" And it's an instant transmission here. Um, I'm gonna head out. But yeah, no, it was something else. I didn't have any. Oh, and I had like 3 hard crashes over the course of the whole time. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
I've seen a lot of reports of like people playing for 5 minutes and then they hit a crash. They play for 10 minutes and they hit a crash.
yeah, it's not too bad now. I recently read up they do have a new, like, much larger patch that's a much more substantial patch,
Mm-hmm.
because the patches they've been releasing since launch, because we're getting close to holidays, and obviously the team has been worked into the dirt.
Oh yeah.
What is it? They only released like patches to sort like hard bugs, soft locks, and as much crashing as they could get. But no like feature changes. So like if you're wondering like how come they didn't lower the like resolution or lower the draw distance or any of that stuff, model changes, none of that's happened yet. It's basically just been bug fixing.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it would have benefited from at least a full year extra delay. I know people would have been mad, but like, take your time, you know?
Well, that's the thing. And I've had this again. This could be a whole thing by itself, right there, on the state of like game industry in general.
Crunch.
But yeah, they had already been like in the hole. Like that's the thing, is if this is how it was before and they delayed back, earlier in 2020, it's like what state was the game in then?
Yeah, I'd hate to see that.
Yeah, that's why people are saying, they need to just release. I'm like, no, because like if this is what it was, like I don't know. I don't know. I know, and delays are bad because if you delay a game indefinitely, you end up with like the Duke Nukem Forever problem,
Oh.
where your game comes out. I can actually appreciate it a little bit these days because I've read a little bit into it, and one of the problems was the main dev constantly wanted to add new stuff and kept having new ideas, and after a while, the game just lost track of what it was trying to do.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
But it's still, unfortunately, it's still very bad. I can appreciate it, but it is. I am in no way saying it's good.
Yeah, I think at the time it hurt fans worse because it was like finally a new Duke Nukem, and then it's like what am I playing? This isn't what I thought it was gonna be.
To be fair, when I played it, I got nostalgia for Duke Nukem, and then there's a tiny part of me is like, I don't know, man. It's like 2000 and something. Like, do we really need a character like Duke Nukem right now? Like at all?
You just feel so out of place.
Yeah, he's slightly dated. I'm gonna smack that ass, baby.
Yeah, maybe. Like
And
10 years
it's
ago.
like, oof, we've moved past that, Duke. Okay, all right, we don't do that anymore.
What do they call it? Sensitivity training. Duke Nukem could benefit from a little bit of that.
Duke's gonna get busted by HR, man. Told him, you can't just smack anyone's ass, dudes or otherwise.
So is there a game that you haven't streamed yet, but you like have in the back of your mind that you're really looking forward to potentially putting on stream one day?
Let me go into my Xbox backlog here, and you know what? Let me boot up this backlog. No, there is one. With all this talk of Cyberpunk and stuff, and finding out how kind of disappointing that was, I need to get a hold of the previous ones, but I kind of want to do Deus Ex. We're talking like way back at the beginning, Deus Ex. What is it? And then Deus Ex. Even oh my goodness! All of a sudden, I've forgotten the name.
Like the original PC ones?
Yeah, there's Deus Ex and Deus Ex Invisible War, I believe. I want to do those, and I even want to do the Eidos Montreal. Human Revolution and what is the other one? It's Human Revolution and Mankind Divided.
Okay,
those ones were really good. I'd sad to say those were at my actual introduction to the series, so I'd like to go play the other ones. The hard part is coming to terms with the fact that the first and second ones are definitely products of their time, quote unquote. The first one is still great, but I still love watching this one particular clip where you get done talking to a father and a daughter. You turn and shoot the father in the head, and the daughter goes, "Daddy, no!" And you just start having a conversation about how he's a good man and he didn't deserve this. It's like, I just did that. That was me. His dialogue is beyond hilarious.
It's like that Eric Andre meme where he
Yeah.
shoots Hannibal, and then he's like, "Oh, we did
Oh
this."
no, he was such a good man.
Uh,
Let me put it this way: some of the timing on that dialogue, like the delivery is better, but some of the timing on that dialogue is right up there with Resident Evil 1,
oh
where
man,
it's like we're talking OG Resident Evil 1.
yeah.
Now, mind you, like I said, the delivery is a teeny bit better because I don't know what the Resident Evil 1 devs were smoking, but like
Yeah,
none of the.
it's bad, but it's charming. It's super charming nowadays.
But what about you, Barry? I have this.
Or I think at the beginning, Wesker's like, "Stop! Don't open that door." I just have all those lines stuck in my head. It's super charming. It's bad, but I can acknowledge it's bad, but it's just really charming for some reason.
Well, that's why when they were talking about Resident Evil 7 being a soft reboot.
Yeah.
We obviously know that that's not quite the case. But when they said it was going to be a soft reboot, I was just like, I hope it's got the dialogue from the first game. Really bring back them memories. You have to leave this house.
Yeah, like
2 minute pause. Why is that?
like with Resident Evil 7, like I was really kind of taken aback at how different it was compared to previous REs, and I think a lot of that was just not only first person view but just the setting itself. Like I think Resident Evil, I think Chris, Jill, stars, zombies, and this was something that feasibly could take place in that world, but it's like a side character, a smaller story that they did a
It's
good
kind
job
of like
with.
4 when it came out.
Yeah.
You know, 4 was very much the same thing. It's like everyone talks about how great that game is, and they're like, the 7 is just far too removed. I'm like, did we not play 4? Like, did we not play the same 4? What was 4 even about? Mutant cockroaches. Okay. It was some small story in some, bum ass Spanish town
Somewhere in Europe.
nondescript Spanish town where you're just murdering locals.
Yeah, like Resident Evil 4 has the it gets praise, but there's also some people who are like, that's kind of like maybe where the series started to go in like the wrong direction. Although I really liked Resident Evil 5.
I really think 5 is where they started to that was the beginning. If you want to start talking about, again, we could have a whole nother podcast about this, but if you really want to talk about what took the Resident Evil, like they where they leaned hard into the wrong things, I would say 5 is where it started to happen.
Yeah.
And then 6 is peak insanity. I still love watching that, and I'm just like, I don't know what the hell's going on. People are like, do you even know the story? I'm like, I don't even care, dude. Wesker's kids here. Leon needs to get a haircut. I mean, I don't even care.
Yeah, 6 was like trying to please way too many people, and then you just end up upsetting everybody.
Well, and I secretly think the success of the Resident Evil films had a lot to do with it, because let's be honest, Resident Evil 6, like, he could probably just take that script and translate it directly to screen, and it would fit perfectly with the films he's already made.
Yeah, way too much influence from the movies to the games for sure. Like I was just expecting to see Alice to show up in the games.
Yeah, that's why 7. I think 7's not too bad. Hopefully, they can take some time to harken back to what made Resident Evil iconic from like 1 through 3 and the in between games, maybe a little bit of 4. But that's what I was telling another buddy of mine. Again, Matt. He was talking about how he misses the old ones. I'm like, well, that's the thing, is they could get that feel back, but they need to kind of remember that at the end of the day, these are like supposed to be like kind of like survival like horror games.
Yeah.
Not survival as in like Minecraft, but like
fighting for your life.
Yeah, tight ammo, remembering ammo locations, stuff like that, getting a hold of that, solving puzzles. That's Resident Evil in my book, is fighting across some stupid ass place because there's half a gemstone over there.
Yeah, I think 8 will get back to that. 8, from what I've seen so far, 8's got like a nice mixture of elements of 7 with 4, but also kind of like that creepy atmosphere going for it.
Yeah, that, and we got Brick House Chris, so that was cool.
Yeah, he's finally back after that.
Yeah, dude,
weirdo from 7.
Yeah, he's so swole now. He's so big, and I'm just like, finally, goodbye, baby Chris. Hello again, Resident Evil 5 punch boulders, Chris.
Yeah.
All right.
Like in the Chris in 7, like hashtag not my Chris. That's not my Chris Redfield. My Chris Redfield is yoked. He can punch boulders. He's massive. That's my Chris.
I don't really have one. I just think that right there, when people say like, you need to, like, the story is really good, I'm like, what are you talking about? Chris literally becomes a different person in 5 and then goes back to somebody else. Like, so you can't tell me, all right? And then just 6, and I just gesture broadly to all of 6.
So like, obviously you don't game all the time on stream. I'm sure, you know, there's moments where you're off stream and you're playing a game. Over the past year, what would you say would be your game of the year?
Oof.
I know there's a lot to choose from,
question.
because I narrowed it down to 2 that were just so incredible. Like, but what would be yours?
I agree, because I have a feeling I know what one of them is.
Oh, yeah.
But
Could
I
it
also
be
have
more
a
obvious?
it could be slightly more obvious. You could call this the iPhone over Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 7. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, the 7 mixed me up. Final Fantasy 7 stream.
You're close.
But no, I have a strict no remakes, no re-releases, no, like, Final Fantasy 7 remake.
It skirts the line.
I'm not gonna harp anybody who does, but for me personally, they're like, well, it's like a totally different game. I'm like, except it's really not. Like, it's not 100% different.
Again,
it's
man,
still kind of
the pool of Kool-Aid that I could bring you into.
You can try, but you got to remember, I was also really skeptical of 7 when I played it way back when.
Yeah, that's true.
I played it like, that's the thing. That's why a lot of people are like, man, didn't you play 7? I'm like, I did. I kind of remember some of this. Didn't you love that game? No, not really. I kind of stopped playing Resident Evil. Oh my god, I just kind of stopped playing Final Fantasy after that. But when I had to pick one, man, game of the year, I'd have to say, honestly, that you need to give me more time to think about that.
If you want, we can come back to that question.
You know what? We can. If we come back to it, I wouldn't have put any thought into it. So I think if I had to pick one, I would say it'd probably be the one that I put a lot of picks for the Game Awards. I personally think Doom Eternal is by far probably one of the most satisfying experiences I've had in a long time.
Yeah, I can see
Coming
that.
from a colored franchise that I enjoy a lot, even 3, as much as everyone likes to harp on that one. But yeah, I think Doom Eternal is probably literally the only weakest point about Doom Eternal is that it gets a little caught up in its own mythology. In which case, I do not give a shit. Like, I still think Doom's 2016 is the superior game.
Yeah, I see a lot of people say that.
But Doom Eternal, though, there's pretty much, aside from getting lost in its own stuff, it's pretty much as good as it can be. Like, I don't think I've played a game that had a tight melding of like movement, like its movement, its gunplay, its exploration, and just overall its gameplay is all tied together. Like, you'll never, like, 9 times out of 10 you'll never play without using the chainsaw or without using a particular weapon. Like, almost every weapon has its moment to shine.
And there's a lot of platforming too, right?
Yeah, that's another like teeny bit weak part, but like, I give it an A+ for trying to mix it up instead of just like, let's do what 2016 did. But again, you know, like, platforming is it's strange, but it's a good way to like break up the pacing, especially considering 2016 and this criticism was leveled at it rightly. 2016 was essentially some corridors that lead to arenas, and that was every level. you would walk through some corridors to fight the next arena fight. It was just a series of arenas with that. I still think its final boss was more satisfying, just because fighting a set piece was a little weird in Doom Eternal. But I'd still give it contender for Game of the Year. Absolutely.
Do you have a most disappointing Game of the Year?
Like, can we already put Cyberpunk on that list, or are they into the next game? Are they into the next year?
I'd count Cyberpunk, yeah.
No, to be fair, I shouldn't be so. No, you know what? No,
yeah,
that
go for it, man.
is.
If you're disappointed, like a lot of people were.
That is probably. Well, the thing is, I wasn't on the hype train for that. So
Okay.
a lot of people were on there, but me, like, I remember bookending its last delay with watch it come out and be like awful. Like, I kind of feel like I brought that into the world, and that's my fault. But 2020 was wild, so I'm not shouldering that. I'm just gonna blame it on the year. but no, it definitely was, especially when I booted it up on console. Because the thing is, I bought it for somebody. Uh, they wanted it for their birthday,
Mm-hmm.
so I picked it up for them, and by extension, I was able to play it. And I booted up on stream, and the only thing I was thinking while I was playing was, "Oh my god, I bought this for someone's birthday! Like this was a gift. I handed them this and said, have fun."
It's like you gave them like a 7-layer bean dip for their birthday.
Yeah, but somewhere in there, it's not beans. It's actually diarrhea.
Oh god.
But you won't know until you hit it because it looks like refried beans.
There's the guacamole. There's some sour cream, and what's that? Yep, that's
Oh,
diarrhea.
yep, that's the okay. No, that's bad.
So like obviously 2020 was a really weird year. 2021 so far not looking any better.
I'm not willing to damn the year on the first month.
Yeah, I hope it gets better. But is there a game that you are looking forward to that should release this year or within the next 2 years that maybe not necessarily you're going to play on stream, but just like the game you're most anticipating?
Well, I'm a sucker. I'm a humongous Halo fanboy, so I'm incredibly looking forward to Infinite, especially again. I swear to God, almost every one of these could be a talk by themselves.
Oh yeah.
Especially considering Joseph Staten, who worked on the previous Halos, actually all the way through Reach.
He came back, right?
Yeah, he didn't so much come back. He works in a different capacity these days,
Okay.
but he came back as like the creative director to try and like pull things in, like rein it in and get it on track.
Yeah.
And he straight up said the first thing he did, and he's pretty much been the go-to dude. We've lined up pretty well, like when he gives his honest opinions on things, like especially when he, like for example, going into ODST, he'd say, here's some downsides for 3 that we wanted to address for ODST story, and I'm like, these are the same things I thought, you know.
Like he very much knows what the player base is into.
Yeah, and he knows, well, at the same time he knows what he's into, because this one isn't a guy you can go, well, he was only there for 2 and 3. Joseph Staten was there. He, like, if I remember correctly, he helped found Bungie.
He's an OG.
And then he was there from the beginning all the way into the end of Bungie's term, and technically into Destiny too, because he did help set the groundwork for that. But he said the first thing he did when he got there within the first 2 weeks is he booted up the campaign, because it was pretty much feature complete and content complete. It just needed polishing, cleanup, and just a pass across the board. But it was pretty much done. Even if there are busted things like the mission structures there, what I mean, you may run into some gray boxes. But he said straight up, the first thing I did was play through the campaign, and he's like, not only did I play through it once, I played through it 2 whole times.
Wow.
In the span of that time, back to back, pretty much. And he said without a doubt he was absolutely blown away by how good this campaign was, and it really brought in the feelings that they wanted to evoke with Halo 1. Like, a lot of people are looking at that as a bad thing. They're like, I don't want Halo 1. Unfortunately, we got a few people that grew up playing Halo 2, Halo 3. There's like 5 people that grew up playing Halo Reach. I'm not even going to get into the people who played. Actually, the people who grew up playing Halo 4 must be most disappointed, because they played, like, by far, which is the most cinematic campaign, and then everything has been disappointing since then. But what is it? But for me, Halo 1 was like the big one, especially playing on that, walking out on that ring. So hearing that evokes that, he straight up was like, he's like, if you walk out and you see what you need to do, he's like, but do I want to take a look at this? Do I want to adventure over here? Do I want to go off the beaten trail? He's like, and this is exactly what we were shooting for. Like, this is the feel that we originally shot for back with Halo 1. He's like, made real now, because the tech's here, the people's here, the funding's here. Being bought by Microsoft is nice, but But yeah, he's very much excited for what Halo Infinite's got to hold. And I know some of that's probably some PR jargon. You really can't listen to any of this and not expect some PR jargon. But Joseph Staten, even with his PR jargon, has been pretty on the spot. So I know for me personally, that's gonna be an amazing game when it comes out.
I hope it's good. I really want to sit down and play like a really good Halo game again. Some of the memes were funny, I'll admit.
Oh,
like,
yeah, don't get
was
me
the
wrong.
Name of the brute? Was his name Carl or something? Craig.
Yeah, even the developers have what's his name? I can't remember his name all of a sudden. The head of Xbox has mentioned that walking around, people have actually been wearing Craig T-shirts.
Oh,
so
Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer, I think is who you're talking about.
Yes, Phil Spencer. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's admitted that Craig has not only become a meme but has been embraced.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But we are nearing the end of the podcast, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do like a inside the actor's studio rapid fire kind of thing going on with
Oh
some
boy. All right.
questions. So you can't see it, but I'm in a suit right now. I have
Okay.
shaved the top of my head to have a hair curtain, and somehow, I don't know how this happened, I grew a full beard overnight.
Okay.
It's unprecedented. I'm surprised.
I I wasn't sure if this was the rapid fire part or if this actually occurred. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, what's happening?
So these are provided by Level Skip, the website levelskip.com. So some of these I won't ask because they're stupid. Like, are PC gamers really superior to console players? Play
No.
what you want to play on, you know?
Well, the answer to that question is no.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you play what you play on. No. Get off your
It's
high horse. I'm a PC player, and I still think no.
What's your opinion on Fortnite?
It's good. People need to stop hating it. It's a good time. It's part of the culture. Time to get over it. Besides, I'm Master Chief in Fortnite, so
Cool.
you know.
Yeah, they got a lot
Also
of characters now.
Kratos.
Have you ever watched a Twitch stream?
Once or twice.
Once or twice. Oh,
I've watched a few. Yeah.
I like this one. What's the best weapon you've ever used in a game?
Oh man, that's actually a really good question.
That's gonna
Best
make you
weapon I've
think.
ever used in a game, probably the most satisfying. I still have to say it's got to be the Halo sniper rifle. There's just something about that sniper rifle.
Yeah.
It always is satisfying in every Halo game, except one kind of. But like that's only because the punch is gone.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is leading. You have to lead your shots in one, so it's satisfying to get the kills in one. They took that out in 2 and 3 and stuff.
Have you ever had to stop playing a game because it was too scary?
No, I have had to stop playing a game because it was too stressful. Like, well, The Walking Dead. I'm having those choices hinge on me was a bit much, but I didn't necessarily stop because it was scary. Um, however, back when I was a kid, I actually was a hard time to get through Doom 3. That game scared the piss out of me.
Yeah, it was pretty scary back then.
Yep. I mean, it may have been jump scares, but it's still at the time in a dark room with the textures turned all the way down. I didn't know what the hell was coming at me.
It had a really creepy atmosphere. Like, I know a
It
lot of
did.
people crap on that game, but like it was genuinely creepy at the time.
Yeah, I still think it's it was peak horror hell. Like today's hell is like flesh everywhere, and I'm like, it sounds like a death metal album.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one feels like, the type of thing you dream of on accident when you're, I don't know, I was gonna think of a sin that you did, but I forgot. But yeah, you know what I mean? Is the kind you think to yourself when you're like, I'm going to hell, like they're gonna flay me alive. Whereas, like I said, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal is just like, oh hell, look at the flesh everywhere. Oh, wild, isn't it? Kill that demon.
This next one kind of bleeds into the previous question, but has a game storyline ever made you cry? Yes, for me.
The answer's yes.
Oh yeah.
There's been a few.
Is there one in
Actually,
particular?
the primary one was probably because I was kind of in a bad spot when I played it. Was probably Mass Effect.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But to not have the influence of a bad spot, it was Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda.
Really, I've never played that one.
Oh, it's solid. Just be prepared because it is what essentially was. After experimenting with Wind Waker, they were all like, "What if we gave the people what they wanted?" And so they essentially gave us a sequel to Ocarina of Time.
Okay. What is the first console you ever owned? What's the first one you can
The
remember?
very first console I owned was an Atari 2600.
Wow. OG.
Yeah, we played Dig Dug on that bastard, man.
Nice.
Oh, it was amazing.
What is the longest amount of time you have sat playing games nonstop? Don't count streaming on this one. Count just like on your own time.
When I got an Xbox 360 for the first time, and was given both Halo 2 and Xbox Live, I'm pretty sure I spent an entire day from morning to night
Wow.
playing Halo 2 online with friends.
It was fun at least.
Those were the days, man. Oh my god. The only other one would be Halo 3's beta. I was on for that, but only because I had gotten grounded before, so I had to strike a deal to be able to play the beta. And they're like, "You have this much to play it." I'm like, "I'm gonna max out my time, man. I'm going all in."
Might as well. I mean, it's a beta. It's not permanent.
Well, yeah. On top of that, neither was my ungrounding because when the beta ended, I was back on the shit list again.
What is your favorite song from a game?
Mm, I thought maybe I would just think of it and my voice would sing it, but that was nothing. Oh, damn it, dude. That is actually a really good question. There's so many. I think when it comes to games, I think the one that strikes me personally that I can always go back to was probably the end credits track for Halo 3. I believe it's called Roll Call.
Mm.
No, it's not Roll Call. Oh my god, I'm gonna look it up. Oh yeah, Martin O'Donnell, Roll Call, Duty Bound, Price Paid. All right, it does have that, but it had a name. It wasn't just called Ending. Okay. Well, anyway, the end credit track for Halo 3 was tremendous. The only other one being probably the Mass Effect theme. In fact, with the recent little teaser that they showed that saying Mass Effect's going to continue, had a reprisal of that theme. And I ain't gonna lie, the goosebumps were real.
They got you.
They did. They have me.
What's a game you spent the most amount of money on?
uh, I'd imagine Elder Scrolls Online's up there. Does an MMO count?
Yeah, if it's a game, man, you can play it.
And you know what's funny is there's a lot of games I own all the DLC for, but the thing is when it comes to like oh no, it would be Destiny 1, I think. Oh god.
Microtransactions.
Yeah, back when they added those loot boxes. That's when I found out I'm incredibly susceptible to loot boxes, and I've been having to fight that ever since. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm the target audience."
If they're free, I'll go for them, but if I got to pay, I'm like, I'm out.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. It was Destiny 2 actually. I lied. They roll together sometimes. There was a free way to get it, but the thing is it's FOMO stores, you know? FOMO that like get it before it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, "Oh no." Like I'm really susceptible to that stuff. Which is the reason why I'm very outspoken about it too.
So we're down to our last two.
Cool.
Who is your favorite villain from a video game and why?
Favorite villain from a video game. That's another great question. I'm gonna have to say by fair. I'm gonna have to say by far. It obviously has to be Sephiroth because no.
That's my answer. I think it actually would be Sephiroth.
I wish I could, but I ain't gonna lie. There's a tiny part of me through Remake that was just like, Sephiroth, do you have anything better to do than hound me all the time? You aren't even in the game right now.
It's all part of the theories, my man.
Oh yeah, I know. But it's like there's a tiny part of me. He's like Cloud. I'm like, what? You're not here. But hold on. Let me open up Final Fantasy VII. What are you doing here? I'm aware of the fact that my actual plan's gonna die. Like somebody made it. So that's one of the theories is that he's aware of the fact that he loses.
Yep.
And so he's like fucking with the timeline.
It's the Sephiroth you see in Remake is Advent Children Sephiroth going back in time to try to fix his mistakes, and he's basically just messing with Cloud at this point in time.
Honestly, the way you could fix Final Fantasy VII if you went back and just kind of got rid of Advent Children, really. I mean, look, I liked it as much as the next person, but I watched this, I'm just like, oh, they don't give a shit about this lore anymore, do they?
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but I enjoy it.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. There's some amazing, iconic scenes in it that I, to this day, still remember. But like when somebody says like, "Oh, it's a good movie," then I'm like, "Well, no." That's like saying the Final Fantasy Spirits Within was a good movie.
Oh.
Like a good Final Fantasy movie, I should say. Yeah. To answer your question, though, I'd probably have to say
CD Projekt.
No. Specifically, what's the director's name? No, I think some of these are very on the spot, so I'd definitely have to go with, if I had to pick one to stay with the theme of Mass Effect, I'd actually have to go with Saren from the first game.
I remember
because the thing, like, there's actual proper motivations behind what he's doing, and a lot of that, I would say Elusive Man, but Elusive Man committed some character suicide in 3 to wrap the trilogy up. Unfortunately, I would say he's probably more iconic, but my favorite bad guy has to be Saren from Mass Effect 1. Only because I know like every single way to punch his ass in the face and make him kill himself.
Oh damn, that's dark.
Yeah, well, it's better than his boss fight, which is actually low-key broken. There's times where his little skiff disappears and it never comes back. So Jeez. it's like I find whatever I can do to skip that. What
is your favorite game from your childhood?
My favorite game from my childhood. It's a bit of a tough one, but probably my favorite game from my childhood was probably the original Doom. because around the time that I got to play it, it came bundled with Windows 98.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of memories in our household of booting up Doom and seeing how far we could get. Should I have been playing it at the ripe old age of 8? Probably not. But but it's done. So, but yeah, the original Doom it has a huge place, to the point where when Doom 2016 came out, oddly enough, of all the people, my mother came out and was the one who picked it up. In fact, she also picked up Doom Eternal. I was talking about the fact that it was coming out, and she picked it up. She's like, I want to see this on stream. Like, when your mom comes out of the woodwork when a new title in an iconic franchise that she was a part of, you know it's got to be decent.
When you said she was a part of, I immediately thought of she was in the game.
Yeah, she was in the game.
She helped make the game. She was a coder.
She you know the arms that hold the shotgun in the original Doom? Yeah, those hairy man arms. Yeah, that's my mom's.
Those are her arms. Can she sign my arm?
Yeah, that was probably the only other one that would be contender. That would be contender for that is what is it? What's it called? Math Blaster?
Oh yeah, Math Blaster. Those games. Yeah. Oh man, I remember those. Those weren't that bad.
The blaster. Over here we got bot. Over here we got blast. Not. I remember when they had the remake, and he turns that off and turns on some rock. He's like, "That's more like it." And I'm like, all the edgy phases started.
Just want to play the old one instead. Well, you know what you got to do now.
Oh boy.
Add Math Blaster to your stream list. You gotta stream it now.
Can you even get a hold of that right now?
There's gotta be a way you can play it. Maybe not legally, but.
Math Blaster, free math mobile app for kids. No, I feel like that's like modern math. Wait, hold on. What? Apparently it's on the Apple App Store right now.
Wow. That's shocking.
I did not know that. Oh no, I'm seeing the new stuff. Complete intergalactic missions with Max and GC. I don't know who those people are.
Not my Math Blaster.
Yeah, mine looked like a bootleg Bomberman.
Yeah.
With the space suit and the little antennas on his head.
Yeah, I remember.
It might have been
now.
Mega Math Blaster is what I played. Oh, I definitely played Math Blaster ages 4 to 6. Yeah.
That's the one I think I remember the most.
Yeah, because I'm remembering the chick with the purple hair. I'm looking at it right now.
The alien lady.
Yeah. I remember whooping some ass in this game, and then fucking up on the little one. There's this one where you had to catch garbage or something, and I kept getting tinked by the garbage, and it would suck because you get tinked up in the air, knocked in the head. It would make this loud as it hits you, and that's when I realized having my loss rubbed in my face is annoying, and I'm like, just hurry it up. I get it. I'm dead. Move on.
Yeah, I think that is the podcast, the interview.
Oh, okay. It's 20 minutes, man. That's all it takes. 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're over an hour.
yeah. I'm gonna give you a nice virtual pat on the back. Good luck, pal. Trawl through that.
Well,
to be fair, it was all pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty succinct, I would say.
Yeah,
there's a couple spots where we trailed, but it all related to one another.
If it's podcasty, it's fine. If this was an interview, a proper I'm a developer interview, more than 5 minutes. Hold on, man. YouTube, I could barely keep them for 10 seconds. All right, 5 minutes is all I got.
So just as a reminder for people, where can everybody find you?
You can find me several places. Don't find me on Facebook, because I don't check that. I do have a Facebook page for Drunklock Holmes, but Facebook will only help me if I pay them money, and it's like, no, thank you. Yeah, good. No, it's just bad. So best places to find me. It's actually silly. So on Twitch, it's Drunklock Holmes. On Twitter, it's Holmes Drunklock, because apparently at Drunklock Holmes was already taken. And then on Discord, I don't know where else you would find me. That's all I have.
YouTube, you got a YouTube.
Oh, I do. Also Drunklock Holmes there. The YouTube thing I slowed up on because trawling through and making the highlights, for example, Horizon Zero Dawn, I lost 2 of them from that.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so it basically goes to part 13, then finale. And I'm like, well, I hope nobody wonders what happened in between there. So yeah, I've been debating on getting it back in. There's actually a bunch in the backlog that I have transferred, but I haven't updated and posted,
Mm-hmm.
So I actually do have to do that. Yeah, there's a few places. It's a nice place to get a little touch up, because I have all of Death Stranding there, except the finale. I have to edit that one, because that one got VOD muted like a motherfucker.
Ouch.
Final Fantasy VII. I'm not allowed to monetize a single one of those videos.
Dang, that sucks. Because of the music?
All of their music, almost all of their music comes up
Is
as
it
copyright claimed.
Warner Chapel?
No.
They're not the ones getting you?
No.
Damn.
No, these ones are coming straight up from Square Enix.
Okay,
Same thing happened with Nier Automata, which I also have all the way up there. That game, oh my god. That game almost brought an. I'm sorry, we're getting off subject again. That game brought a tear to my eye because there's a secret to the ending. If you make it to the ending and get to the question at the end, you'll know why it brings a tear to your eye.
We can save that for a different episode if you want.
Yeah, I'm just gonna skip it. But yeah, those are places. Basically, search Drunklock Holmes on anything, you can find me. If you may actually find me on Xbox. I hope I don't get a bunch of notifications. That's also my gamer tag.
And then your OnlyFans is Drunklock Hung, right?
No, my OnlyFans is Dongs Enormous.
Dongs Enormous. All right.
Dongs Enormous, yeah. OnlyFans.com/Dongs Enormous. It's only $5, so there's really no excuse for not subbing to that.
Yeah, I mean, you're listening to music, you're eating food. You can afford $5 for his OnlyFans. Come on now.
Oh, that rant is another one all by itself. But yeah, no, you'll catch me standing on chairs, leaning back too far in the chair when my boss is in view, searching on the web while on company time, all kinds of not safe for work shit.
Yeah, but that's the episode, man. Thanks for chatting with me again.
No problem, man.
Longer
Thanks
than
for,
20 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's definitely thanks for extending the invitation. Hey, any other time, I'm free as long as it's before 7ish.
Yeah,
because that's usually when I start streaming.
That's in a couple hours now.
Oh god, yeah, it is. Well, thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, but
I have to make sure a few more things work.
Yeah, but thanks for sitting down. I thought this was pretty fun to spotlight a small streamer, and then I've known you for a while, so it'd be cool to let people know like what you're about.
Well, yeah, and now I'm completely into this. I'm completely into this creative stuff. So, like I said, you ever need another guy on this thing? I'm here. I've already got it set up.
All right, sounds good to me.
Yep.
If you've made it through this entire podcast, if you're listening to this, thank you. We've done one episode prior. It's a little bit different, but yeah, sub if you like it, and maybe we'll see you guys in the next one. Do you want to say goodbye?
Oh, yeah, sorry. My apologies. I was fixing the things you were talking about. Anyway, yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me on here. I definitely appreciate it.
Yep.
I feel like I make a few small appearances. And yeah, if you made it this far, definitely sub to this guy. This guy's got a lot of solid content, especially his old content. You can't get to his old content anymore. But his previous content is actually not bad. I've watched some of it.
I work
also,
hard.
I'm kind of like in it too. So
Yeah, he's a guest star in some of
a
it.
small plug for me. we do get out over Batman versus Superman one time.
Oh yeah, the Rocket League video.
Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely take it easy, guys.
All right, see you guys in the next one.